And I hadn't talked about them since I was 7 years old, which is a long time ago, by the way.
And what happened? What happened at 7? What was that experience like for you?
When I was 7, it was August. It was very, very humid. It was in the early 70s. And my parents were not wealthy. So we didn't have air conditioning in the home. And as I said, it was very humid. And my bedroom was on the second floor. So our windows were open. And I woke up in the middle of the night to hear this kind of undulating drone, like a hum, almost like I'm going to embarrass myself here by doing it. It was kind of like this, like that. And I woke up and I'm a little kid. I'm ticked off. I'm tired. I'm like a little kid. I can't go outside.
Like this sounds
With you.
deep, like just
Oh my
deep,
God. Oh
deep,
my God.
like coming from
Terrible.
somewhere else.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. So what happened was, I mean, this is hard because I have to go scout locations. I can't go.
Right.
I have to have people with me, and I'm looking out of the truck. Yeah, that looks good. Whatever. I finally get through the shoot, and I get back to the East Coast thanks to some delicious Irish whiskey. And but when I get off the plane, my friends and family know there's something wrong, something different about me. It compounded and compounded and compounded. I was so petrified that I would have to run to my car or my truck to get to the office. And I had an experience when I was a kid. I was 7 years old. And like I said, I hadn't felt that way for a long, long time. I guess smarter people would have looked for help, but I'm not a smart guy. I'm a dumb guy. And so what I did was,
I want to stop you there, John, because I think that is so common. When we have suppressed trauma, and that's the nature of suppressed trauma. We consciously are not connecting the dots on what is it inside of us that's causing these sorts of fears and issues in our life. And I think I even went through a phase like that where I didn't reach out to people for help because I was I was terrified of people thinking I was crazy. That was a big part of it. Like how do I even articulate what I'm feeling and what's happening to me? It took a while for me to get to the point where I could even talk to someone about these things.
Yes. I completely resonate with that.
Yeah.
But I was so damned and determined to get to the bottom of it that I realized this. I said, look, you, meaning me, are nobody special. I am certain that other people have had an experience. So I started to read about folks. And then that led me to start to talk to a few folks. And then that led me to record them. And then finally, I was able to speak to them about my encounters. I'm angry that this has awakened me, but I can't. So I go to the bathroom and I do whatever I'm doing in there. And I get a glass of water, and then I turn off the water and I open up the door. And when I opened up the door, standing in the door frame is what to my 7-year-old eyes saw was a character I'd seen 1,000 times on television. Ultraman was this silver kind of giant guy with kind of an almond head and big eyes, and he fought the monsters. And I loved Ultraman. I wasn't afraid of Ultraman. I thought he was cool. And but the strange thing is that I was the smallest kid in my class until high school. So Ultraman was tiny. He was my size. And so I'm looking at him, and somehow we got really, really close. And I mean like nose to nose. I didn't know where the hell I was going.
Yeah.
And I think that served me well, because it led me to one person, that led me to another person, led me to another person. And this is what is so interesting to me and really has educated me over many things, is that even though I'm in the film and whatever, but it's not about me, it's about us. And when you see these people, these are not people on the speaking circuit. These are moms and dads. These are people with master's degrees and PhDs. They have businesses. They have families. They have, okay. When people watch this, they may not like me. I'm used to that. They may not like me. They may not like my film. But the one thing that they say is this, invariably, when they're watching these people, they see themselves. They see their uncle. They see the guy who lives down the road. These are normal, salt of the earth folks who have experienced something so extraordinary, and they are grappling with that. Some of these encounters were a little similar to mine, but some of them were very, very different. And that taught me a lot too. And so, there are a lot of people who have, the people who don't like what I do are usually people who are they've tied their ego to their position.
Yeah.
And I smile at that because I say to them, listen, you had this tremendous experience that just shattered everything you knew. And then what you did was you walked down the path about 20 feet and then planted your flag. Well, you already know the egg is cracked. Stop. And so what I try to do, Jenna, is this. When you watch the whole film, you'll see this. I try to use myself as the lowest common denominator, right? I am not the sharpest knife in the drawer. So what I do is I try to take very difficult subjects for people to grapple with. And I try to tell little parables, little stories that make sense to me, that I hope make sense to them. And so, for example, when dealing with, people who say, well, listen, these are the Palladiums. Oh, no, these are the Arcturians. Oh, I'm going to fight you. These are the lizard people. All of that is noise. It's just noise. And what it is it's tied back to the ego, which originally held them captive in the beginning.